Hi, welcome to the Southern Illinois University Foundation's celebration of Black Philanthropy Month, a shared commitment. I am Sherika Hunt. I serve as the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Development and Alumni Relations for Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and as the Chief Diversity Officer for the Foundation. Today, we have an amazing panel who will discuss what a shared commitment with our Black alumni means to the university in order to achieve student success. So I would like to introduce our panel. First, we have Dr. Renata Greer.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Greer. I'm the Executive Director for the Student Multicultural Resource Center, and I also oversee TRIO programs.
Good morning. My name is Wendell Williams. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management.
Good morning. My name is Jakari Henderson, and I serve as the Director of Saluki Cares Program, as well as the Black Faculty and Staff President.
Hi, my name is Tarnisha Green, Dr. Tarnisha Green, and I am the Director of the SEED program in the College of Engineering, Computing, Technology, and Mathematics.
Okay, so thank you all so much for participating in this discussion. So with raising your hands, how many people have heard of Black Philanthropy Month? Yeah, okay, great. So not too many people have, and so it is a program that was launched in 2011 to celebrate Black generosity and as well as equity in funding. So this year's theme is Love in Action, inspired by the life and times of the late scholar activist Bell Hooks, writing on love as a necessary foundation for true social change. So one of the things that we're doing with the foundation and recognizing Black Philanthropy Month is that we are highlighting and creating awareness with our Black alums who are philanthropic to the university, not only with their resources, but with their time and as well as their talent. And so we are also dismantling the misrepresentations on Black giving, right? Because how many people have heard Black people do not give? Right? And so according to the Kellogg's Foundation, 2/3 of African American households donate $11 billion annually to all charitable organizations, right? So it's to say that Black people aren't giving, so how do we get them to give to the university into achieving our mission and our objectives? And so those stories can be found on our social media handles with the SIU Foundation. So today we're going to explore love in action and what it means to our campus leaders like yourselves who support students directly. So you all know the impact of having resources to students, when students have resources, and then you also know the impact when there is a lack of resources. And so let's get the day started with asking each of you, and we'll start with you, Dr. Greer, on exactly what does philanthropy mean to you?
To me, philanthropy means just supporting a cause, a mission, or a person through your giving.
Okay, thank you. Wendell?
Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that no man can sincerely try to help someone else without helping themselves. And so for me, it's an opportunity to give of yourself where it's actually benefiting someone else.
I love that. Jakari?
Yes, for me, I believe it can be through a variety of different ways, through mentorship, through monetary donations and service, as well as education to populations that may be in lack of resources. And so I really believe that it is vitally important. I really believe that the theme of my life that I really try to focus on is the greatest impact. So that means impacting as many people as I potentially can through my personal, professional endeavors as well.
For me, it's a way to give, pay it forward.
Okay.
So, so many of us have had the opportunities to be impacted by others. So philanthropy is a way for others to pay it forward.
Yes, I love all of those comments. And again, we are just dismantling these misconceptions on what it means to give and to give Black, right? We give to our churches, we give to our family members, we give to nonprofits in the community, and we give back to our university. So that is the narrative for today, is Black alumni and our community stakeholders, right? Because it takes all of us. What our saying is, once a Saluki, always a Saluki. And so so we want to get that message across as well and providing equitable opportunities for all of our students here at SIU. So Mr. Wendell, this question is for you. So with Black philanthropy rising, Black alumni are playing a leading role in this movement. So in 2020, Black donors gave $13.1 billion to charity, a 30% increase from the previous year. This trend is expected to continue in years to come as Black alumni become more financially secure and more aware of the impact they have on their communities. So the question is, what are some misconceptions does the Black community or our Black alumni have about supporting the university?
I would probably like to change the question from not misconceptions, but probably miseducation.
Okay.
A lot of times we don't realize that if we would endow a scholarship, that is something that's going to continue to give itself forever. Mm-hmm. Instead of making a donation, what we're accustomed to is that if we change the philosophy to endowing a scholarship, once I learned about what an endowed scholarship meant and how easy it is to endow a scholarship because you can do it over time, then my wife and I, we've endowed 2 scholarships at our previous institutions, and we're working on one here, because it's a one way that our legacy can continue. Yes. Even though we designate that it may go to a particular population or a particular group, we try not to make it so restrictive because we don't know what those needs are. But I think it's really more miseducation that you can start with your donations. As we become more financially secure with our opportunities to give, we're able to do that a lot easier, and we do it through the education process, what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you changed it, the miseducation or undereducation of what it means to be philanthropic, and those endowment scholarships are impactful, and it's the legacy, a continuous giving cycle. Would anyone else like to add?
I agree with Wendell. A lot of our Black alums feel like it's not going to go where they want it to go. But you can make stipulations, but as he said, don't make it so restrictive that it can't be handed out. But just knowing that you can put stipulations, you can guide your money where you want it to go.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I also think that sometimes we think that we have to give a large amount of money to make a huge impact. And sometimes you can make a small, consistent contribution that could add up to a long-term, one-time donation. So you might not be able to give assets, a car, or $1 million at once, but over time, small donations do add up to a larger impact for students. So don't not give because you can't give a lot, and don't feel like the rich or wealthy are the only people that can give. We can all give something. So
yes, Jakari.
I would say 100% agree with Wendell as well. I think it's the miseducation piece of it. I think once more people have the information to make more informed decisions, that individuals will be more willing to give on a more consistent basis, as well as what Dr. Greer mentioned, as well as even if it's a small amount that continuously builds over the next few years to a larger amount. I think is very important as well for folks to know so that they feel more comfortable and more informed to make those decisions.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
One more other thing too, a part of the miseducation process is that you have to do this by yourself. You see a lot of our Divine Nine groups, they might give $500 scholarships, but that just affects 5 people for that $500 amount. But if they would combine their giving together and try to endow a scholarship in the name of that, then that tuition is going to be there forever for people. And so we can bind together as a body, we can bind together as a nation, we can bind together as a group, we can bind together as a society, a fraternity, or a sorority, and combine our efforts and make a much greater impact. So it's not that you have to do it alone, because none of us may have the ability to do it alone, but if we will work together, we can do it together.
I love that. So, that embodies that shared commitment, right? So with a greater number, you can create a greater impact. And one of the things I think that individuals do not think about is that planned giving, right? So you may not be able to make, that type of donation while here, but you can leave the university and, the legacy of creating student success in your will and your bequest. And so a lot of times individuals see those endowment funds or, they see like, oh, this building was named after this individual. It was because of a planned giving gift, right? And I know no one likes to talk about death. We get that all the time, right? But it is the inevitable, right? We all are born and we all will transition at some point in our lives. And so I would like to encourage our alums to even think about that and leaving the university in your will to make a greater impact, right? Because we all, I'm pretty sure, have benefited from a scholarship, an endowed scholarship from our university, our graduate programs, and it has been through the generosity of someone who is no longer with us. Okay, so Jakari, this is your question. And as you as an alum, I'm pretty sure you would resonate with this. So many of the Black alums that I've spoken with have a very deep connection with SIU and this role in their professional development. And they frequently mention how they felt like SIU was similar to a historically Black college or university during their time here at the university. So from your perspective, what impact can Black alums have on your university role from recruitment, retention, and degree attainment for all underserved and underrepresented students?
Yeah, so as a very proud alumni of SIU Carbondale, I do believe that there is a culture here that was really kind of bred with students as we matriculated through our education. That really embodies a family away from your family, that I really think makes the difference from SIU Carbondale versus other institutions. And so I think really re-emphasizing a lot of the programming that we had that was really effective when I was a student. Making people more familiar with what they remember when they were students here, I think is very important. So Black Alumni is a big name. I know the Center for Academic Success was a huge program, Future Scholars. So really revitalizing those programs and sharing that information with our alum so that they are willing to buy in. They know the impact, they know how successful those programs were in helping students navigate the different challenges that they, encountered as students. And so I believe that's kind of the foundation to really help grow. I also think that getting alums involved in a lot of think tanks, collaborative kind of programming and mentorship programs is vitally important. When alums know what's going on and how we're benefiting and helping students, they're more willing to give when we can actually show them numbers, we can show them pictures, we can show them experiences. And so I believe that is a way, number one, to not only recruit additional students, but to also recruit and retain effective staff. That is something that, during the last few administrations, we've seen an increase of that diverse kind of representation in the classroom, directors, vice chancellors, and chancellors, that I think is so important for folks to feel that they are welcome and that they can thrive and be successful while they are here. So I think that those are really the foundational, components to really help us get back to what SIU, quote unquote, used to be. Is really making sure that we highlight the successes and the wins and how we can benefit our students with the buy-in from our alumni.
I love that. Anyone else?
I think for me, I work with engineering, computer science, some of those populations careers where you don't see a lot of representation. So for our alums, it is so vitally important that they show their faces, show what success looks like. I love to say, this is what an engineer looks like. This is what a computer scientist looks like. So giving is very important, but also showing up, being mentors, or just coming in and speaking and talking about your successes, what you're doing now, how to navigate corporate America or technical America, being maybe one of the only ones in your field. So showing them what it looks like on the other side of going through the program for us is so vitally important, and I love to have our alums back to talk about their successes and what can happen next.
Yes. Thank you.
I think in enrollment services, we do outreach, we do admissions activities, we take care of records with the registrar's office, and most importantly, financial aid. which is where the result of their giving actually shows up. I think we can remind our alumni that what you mentioned earlier about their time, but not necessarily giving so much of their time, because we know they have families, and we know that they have obligations at work and at church and other locations. But their time, if that on Saturdays, on Sundays, on weekends, wherever they are, if they would just wear their SIU shirt and show the pride in their institution where they earn, because people see how great they are in the workplace, in the community. They see how great they are if they will wear their shirt. And when someone asks them about that, tell that story with pride. Not only their time, but their talents as well. You have no idea what a benefit it is that when we have send-off events in Chicago or recruitment events, wherever they might be, to have an alumni represented at that event, to just give them a few minutes to tell their story. It sells the institution to a student who might be doubting, or a parent might be doubting just how great SIU is. And last but not least, their resources itself. Once they give those resources, you never know how many students I see on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, that a scholarship is what makes the difference in having them to decide to go to school, to stay at school, or either to encourage their siblings or their brothers or sisters or parents to come back to school. So the benefits that they have gained from the degree that they receive from here can contribute so much, as Tanisha said, in paying it forward.
Thank you. Dr. Greer?
Yeah, I agree. I think their involvement and engagement is vitally important, because I think although we work for the university, students tend to take information better when it comes from another student who has had a similar experience as their own. And so a lot of times, of course, I oversee TRIO programs and I oversee other underrepresented programs, but a lot of times when those alumni come back and they had the same four-year experience, to say, but I made it through SIU and I did well, and you can too, utilize the programs that are available to you. I think that helps us to retain students. Also, a number of students have come back to say, hey, Dr. Greer, I'm bringing my niece, I'm bringing my nephew to SIU. And so we need our alumni to stay connected and engaged, and to feel valued by the institution, to understand their experience can also be another student's experience.
I love that. When you said, with alums bringing their family members back, we recently had Cook County Commissioner Stanley Moore bring his two children down to tour on Saturday, the university. And so I think that's the importance too of our alums. We do have legacy scholarships for your children to partake in, and I think a lot of alums, some are aware, but some aren't aware of that particular fund. And so the same experiences that they've had that have led to their great success, their children can also have that same success as well. So Jakari, I would like for you to highlight on some of those essential needs within your department that our students need, even outside of scholarship funds that you see, and then working with families. So, some single parents and then some, complete families. Like, what are some of those needs and resources that our alums can help provide?
Yes, so I serve as the Saluki Cares Director, and so we really focus on providing support and resources to our students. What that looks like is book scholarships through a new program called the Heroes Program. We really provide a lot of basic essential needs for students, whether it's gift cards for transportation, for food, for hygiene items. And so I believe as far as our alum, you remember what it was like to be a broke college student, and how sometimes, unfortunately, you may have had to stretch it through the week. And so really providing the donations and support to shed light, number one, about the education and the resources that we do have on our campus in reference to those programs, I think makes the difference, because students hear about programs all the time. And so where do you go to get that access? But I think them knowing about the information and really buying in to donate or even whether that's monetary donations or actually donating those items makes the difference, and really promoting a successful situation for our students, because we know that when students have a lot of barriers, it really hinders their ability to be successful in the classroom. And so we really try to highlight and to make sure that we have as many resources as we can to provide to the students to be successful. So please give. It definitely makes the difference to our students here, and they are so grateful whenever they can come in and have that burden released off of them to know that they can get their books to go to the classroom to be successful without having that stress on them.
Yes, I love that. And I taught a summer bridge program this summer. And so I asked the students, like what is your drive? What is your motivator, that will keep you going? And so one of the students, and it really hit me, they said, if this does not work, I will be homeless. And I was like, wow. So these are the students that we're seeing, in the student center with a smile on their faces, but they are having just some challenges that they're going through that, with, like you said, the representation, right? Even the encouragement and the motivation, as well as the resources, can help get these students through, because it may be that slight thing that can take them from being a student to giving up and going back home and foregoing, their higher education experience. So thank you all for sharing that.
Sure. Can I add?
Yes.
For our students that are leaving the university, they're graduating, having a gently used suit or clothing that can give them the confidence in those interviews to do well will also be so helpful. We have a career closet on campus, so if an alum has a gently used suit that they're not wearing anymore, or a nice dress, or whatever the case may be, that can also be donated. And we all know how it is when we get a new outfit, and it gives us a sense of confidence. So that could also be really helpful in giving back.
Yes, I love that. When you look good, you feel good, you look good, you present well as well. So Tanisha, I'll let you lead this question. So we're going to talk about legacy, and we kind of, briefly mentioned it in our conversation. So how important is it for our alums to leave a legacy at their alma mater?
How important is it? I think it's vitally important, leaving a legacy. Having an endowed scholarship in your name. Your name will go on forever. Bringing your son or daughter back. I've been here long enough now that I'm starting to see my students bring their children back to SIU to be SIU students. So having that legacy is vitally important to, like I said, people seeing you, seeing how you are successful and they can do it too. So yeah, legacy is super important.
As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 endowed scholarships, and once a year, around October or so, my wife and I will always get a letter from 2 different institutions from kids who said it had made a difference in their lives. And that is worth the $75 per month that we took to donate to establish the scholarship, or the $100 a month, or whatever. We blow that on just sacrifice one weekend of eating out or so. I'm reminded this past Friday of 22 minutes. I talked with a young lady that she cried for the full 22 minutes because she could not find $1,500, and because of her situation, we couldn't help her with the $1,500. We have so many restrictions on so many ways that we can use the funds, that if I had $1,500 from an alumni that was unrestricted, that we could assist this student with paying that bill off, it would solve a lot of tears there. And so I pondered that one all over the weekend, and it's still nothing that I can do. So if it's someone right now that's touched by that just motivated for $1,500, it could have made a difference in that young lady's life. But I haven't given up yet.
Okay, you all heard Wendell Williams. If there's an alum and this has touched you, or a stakeholder, that $1,500 will change the student's life, and it could change their family's life as well. So you're not only changing that one student, you are changing a generation as well. Kira, do you want to add to that?
I think I agree with everybody. Legacy is vitally important. I'm just glad we're also having this conversation because a lot of people might not know how to start an endowment. How do we become a legacy? How do we leave a legacy at an institution? And so it's just an important conversation. We work with students every day, again, that struggle to be successful at the institution. And so I'm glad we're having this conversation because I didn't know how to start an endowment, but now I am interested. How can I leave, a scholarship for students that come in, to the institution so they can be successful? I've spent 18 years here supporting and serving students. So, that's even something that I would like to know more about. And I do think it's vitally important for us to help students that are struggling at the institution. So.
Plus, we got these 2 AKAs right here, so they're automatically going to start one just like that, too.
I like, to mention, but that shared commitment, right? And so I often encourage alums that even with your endowment, you do not have to do it alone. So there's a link that we can send you to say, hey, for birthdays or, in lieu of gifts or for Christmas, the way you can honor me is through helping me to establish my legacy and my alma mater that provided this life for me and that, changed the trajectory of not only my family, future generations beyond me. And so, the important seat that anyone can have at that table is someone who is educated, right? And so that is what we're providing here at this institution. We're giving individuals the resources and then we're arming them with the confidence because, I'm not a graduate of SIU, but you all have some very confident, slight cocky alums, but they are doing amazing things, and I am always thoroughly impressed with and honored with the individuals that I have the opportunity to meet in my journey here.
I've been in higher education for 40 years, and I have never been at an institution that has alums, especially African American alums, who are as proud and as happy and as productive and as satisfied from the education that they got from SIU. So I'm like you, I'm thoroughly impressed, and will probably seek a degree, a final degree from here, just so I can be an alum from SIU.
I think it's important to remember that while we're also, during our college educations, creating our legacy, we're also making an impact on SIU's legacy because we are breeding successful entrepreneurs, successful business owners, and I feel like we are part of that staple as well to continue to enhance the success of SIU and what great things that they are doing for our students. So I think it's important to remember that too. While, this is a great institution, we also are making an impact as well in our communities that we serve and the individuals' lives that we are helping. So.
Yes, thank you, Jakari. That's a great point. So the last question, this will be free for all. So what last message do you have regarding the significance of Black philanthropy and how alums can demonstrate love and action's impact on SIU's future success?
Love is not an emotion.
Yeah.
Love is an action. If I say I love you and I don't do anything to show you I love you, I really don't love you.
Yeah. Great point. Anyone else?
That was a good one.
I agree. Love is an action. And so we show how we care about students by the actions that we take. And so as we continue to support students here at SIU through our time, our engagement, mentoring, but also our money. People always say, if you want to know what's important to a person, look at their bank account, right? And so we invest in things that have value to us. And if students have value to us, we want other students to have the great experience that we've had here at SIU, then we ought to invest in those students' lives. So.
I think It's important to remember too, our labor of love didn't end when we graduated and received our degrees. So take note of the skills, the talents, whatever you can bring to the table that can help benefit our students as we continue to move them through their college education. So get involved. It's never too late. Don't feel like you don't have the capabilities to do so. If you were bred here at SIU, then you do have what it takes to continue to help us be successful on this journey.
Without the love and support of alums and people in positions like ours, I wouldn't have made it through SIU. So just pay it forward.
Okay. And so on that note, I want to thank our panelists. Thank you so much for having this much needed conversation. And I do know there are additional conversations that need to be had in order for this particular experience to be really impactful. So as the SIU Foundation, we are gearing up for the reset of a campaign. And so I am asking for all of our alums, and because it is Black Philanthropy Month, our Black alums to show your love in action, right? So I often tell our CEO that any alums that I've spoken with, everyone has a love for SIU. And so with this theme being love in action, we know that you can show action not only with those financial resources, but as our panelists stated, you know, with your time and with your talent. So representation is key, and it is highly critical and important. So for anyone who has interest in supporting students and the university, my contact information will be available in this video. And again, I am Sherika Hunt, and I am with the Southern Illinois University Foundation.